Oh my goodness! Battle Cat, you a fool for this one! Welcome to the foundation. It is yours truly, the incredible DJ Battle in the building, and it feels good to be back in here. But hey, let's jump straight into it. Disclaimer time, basically letting you guys know I'm just going to touch on a few important subjects that have taken place in between the last show and the current one. But hey, you know the spill. I don't want no drama, no BS, none of the above, no legal issues, because this is for entertainment purposes only. Our good president, he's enjoying, the renovations at the White House. He got his private donors out there, so life is well. Back to the shutdown. This is just disgusting on so many levels. You look at, places like, Atlanta airport or any other airport with the TSA, these folks are working these long hours, and the TSA people are just out there, protecting, citizens as they board planes. And you know how some of these airports like New York or Atlanta or LAX, they have these huge lines, and you put in all that work only not to get paid. I mean, you talk about something that's not fair. I mean, it's disgusting. I mean, these things happen from time to time, but usually it happens for like a few days, a week or something. Man, we pushing on a month, and we going into the holiday season. Like any other period of time, it shouldn't make any difference. If you put in the hours, you should be getting paid like everybody else, right? You see the federal, the Congress, they're out there getting paid. They're getting paid. So it's easy to sit back and say, well, it's just the other party is holding you hostage, and they sitting back and they cashing their checks, getting ready for holidays, getting ready to deep fry their turkey. It's not genuine at all. In fact, it's more by design. They really don't care about the people, whether they eat or not. Long as they people are taken care of, eating good, they don't care. So I always like to revert back to the term that in order to get the results that you're looking for, you gotta speak the language they can understand, and you gotta read between the lines on that. Because if I say what I really think, it probably pull me off the air right at this moment. So, but yeah, it's just unfortunate, and like going into this holiday season with the economy doing what it's doing, looks like Amazon has some news. Amazon's gonna lay about 30,000, but they're gonna replace about 600,000. Yeah, Amazon definitely employed a lot of people, and now they're about to let a lot of folks go. Like I said, there's always something about the holiday season that seems to sting a little bit more when you get hit with this layoff. And then they're going about it in a way where they're trying to figure out how to spin it and make it positive. Like, we got some good news. The good news is we're going to have some new type of workers. Yeah, we're just going to kind of redistribute on how the workplace is going to flow. And it's not a bad thing. This is something that's going to help you out. Everybody looking like, help you out? I'm out of a job. The robots are not here to, they're not here to replace you. That's what it is. They're here to assist you. So it's not bad news. What we're going to do is we're going to try it out and give you guys a chance to, get some recertifications and rebrand yourself and get more skills, and we may bring you back. No, they not. This was the plan the whole time. So there is no positive way to tell somebody that you're out of a job and good luck. Oh yeah, you may need SNAP and food benefits, because the government shut down. We're not going to be able to provide you with SNAPs either. So, and that stings, because not everyone is out to abuse the system. There are some folks who actually need it, especially in this economy where the cost of living is so lopsided that you need 3 or 4 incomes when you used to only need one. SNAPs and the food stamps, EBT, it goes a long way when you need some food and assistance. So food banks are going to be stretched out to capacity. I mean, folks that you normally wouldn't see at the food bank, you're gonna see there. But the Congress is gonna be all right. They're gonna be at home with the remote control, playing with the dog and drinking the wine and Uncle Nearest and whatever beverage they like to drink. Bloody Marys, it's just jacked up. Why do people suffer? Most people will say, hey, I didn't vote for this. That's the other sad part. Folks that voted against their own interests, not even know it, because they thought they were gonna have some type of leverage or privilege. Nah, bruh. This system is about one thing: the haves, which is this percentage, and the have-nots, which is this percentage. So you got to figure out, vote for your best, truly vote for your best interest, or better yet, form a party that's really going to make a difference. And then as I transition, this guy right here, Marvin Winans, right? Of course, everyone's seen a video where he rebuked one of his members in his church for not contributing, X amount of dollars, or not following directions, as he put it. This to me is no news. The prosperity pimping has been going on for quite some time, and you gotta let people spend their money the way they see fit. People, are free to do whatever they want to do with their money. If you're willing to sit there and be, my eyes, be swindled out of $1,200 or $2,000 or whatever to basically fund someone's lifestyle, because look, let's keep it honest. I'm from Detroit. I know a lot of these hustlers before they turn to the pulpit, and I'm not gonna say all of them are crooked, but majority of them are. But the way I look, another way you can look at it is, some of them used to deal drugs or really do some awful things to get the money. If you look at it from that aspect, they no longer have to sell anything illegal. They can just sell hope, and they sell you the dream of being the gateway between heaven and earth. So, hey, if it works for you, and that's what keeps you on a straight and narrow path, I'm all for it. So salute to the former hustlers that now just get into the pulpit. I'm just gonna keep it light. It was just funny though, how they set up the second interview after the backlash, where he's talking to the lady he was scolding, and she was like, oh no, he wasn't rebuking me. We were just having a light moment. I was like, oh my God, this is so cringeworthy. It's okay, brother, get your money, man. You ain't got to explain none of them folks. And you ain't got to reiterate that, just because Tyler Perry hit you off with $100,000 that you getting your blessing. Cool, get your bread, man, get your bread. And then you got this guy, Marvin Sapp, just coming to the rescue. And I'm all for it, looking out for your homie. That's what we do, right? That's what we do. But see, I saw this cat, I was like, man, why? He just need to be quiet. You know what I'm saying? Just, especially with everything he's been through, because we know how this cat get down. I mean, he talking about, if we don't have no problem with content creators, then we shouldn't have any problems with the prosperity pimping. And like I said, I ain't got no problem with it. If people fall for it and that's what they see fit, hey, like I said, salute. But bruh, you might want to chill out. You know what I'm saying? Because we know how, if things get really deep, we know how you can baptize some folks. Some of these preaching cats, some gangsters too. Now we know how. We heard about some of your baptism by water. I'll just leave it at that. Or by the lake. Sad but true. But to get back on topic, we're rolling into the holiday season, and it's going to be Black Friday right after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's going to already be interesting, that period of time. For those who celebrate the holiday or not, seems like everyone jumps in on that Black Friday. I've never been the one, even when they called it popular, to buy into this mess of Black Friday and getting out there and going broke. So I am glad to hear that, folks are fighting against corporate greed. So they're going to take a week to boycott Black Friday. I'm just looking like, that's cool. I guess that's a step in the right direction, but I don't really see it being effective. Just my personal opinion, and I've always said this quite a few times. Even when you look at back in the civil rights era, when they were boycotts, and boycotts weren't a week. What the people did was, they just didn't use their services. And then they started using their own services, or started carpooling and things of that nature. but it should drive home the point of being self-reliant. And really, if you want to step away and you really want to hit them where it hurts as far as the dollars are concerned, a week ain't long enough. How about a month at a minimum, a quarter? Because I talk to some of these cats that are in those corporate worlds, and they've already heard about what this boycott is. What they do is they'll move the target around, because at the end of the day, they're looking at moving product before the year's end. So if you're only taking out 1 week, okay, you might hit them for some a nice sum of money, but guess what's gonna happen right after that week? They're gonna get record sales, right? Record sales. So at the end, what did you gain? So I don't know. It just, to me, it just doesn't make sense. But I like the energy, and I like the thought, but I don't think they went far enough. If you really want to hit them, I say about a quarter. Hit them about a quarter. And support the people that you really claim that you're going to support as far as business go, instead of the large corporate machine. But 1 week, and people gonna be sitting there with their order on standby, waiting on that, waiting on that 7th day, the 8th day, and hit send, and then the product come flooding. If anything, them robots gonna be wore out at Amazon on the 8th day. Like, shit, I need some PTO, I need a vacation. So it's not funny, but it's real. So but I got one more thing to talk about, and I'm gonna let you guys go. Now, this right here in Ohio, and I think this is a beautiful thing, because how many times have we seen a couple go into the hospital, deliver a child, and the baby comes out, and the wife is in shock, like, "Look, honey, look at our baby. Oh, don't worry about him being dark. I just had a lot of chocolate while I was pregnant. That's all. It's just a lot of chocolate. I love my chocolate. By the foot." But Ohio has came up with something called Right to Know Act, and we've been advocating for this for a long time, because we've seen the Maury shows when they say you're not the father, and the disappointment, and why have a person invest so much time in a lie? You know what I'm saying? Like a father who really thinks he's the father, and then he finds out 15, 16 years later that the child's not his. He already has some kind of clue, because the baby look like somebody familiar. But the wife insists and put up ultimatums, and if you have me take a test, then we're leaving, and making the man feel like, oh, okay. But then you have the situation where it may be a medical emergency, and you may need a transfusion, and there's no match. When they say there's no way this man can be the father, there's the people who the family members who are all in on it. They know the whole time, smiling in your face, shaking your hand, eating your food, knowing the whole time that this child ain't yours, because it's been discussed, but they made a pact. So Ohio, it says they have a bill on the table that says, hey, the Right to Know Act offers genetic testing immediately after birth in hospitals to provide the option. That is beautiful, beautiful. And especially if you're not married, I think they should make it like mandatory if you're not married, and optional if you are married. Because if a brother turns it down, like, yeah, I know that's mine. I don't need to take no test. And that, hey, you signed off. You wanna sign off on it? And that's your cool. Don't come circling back around saying you found out later when we gave you the opportunity to find out now. It makes sense to have that test immediately after birth, before the man signs the birth certificate. Therefore, there's no confusion. Can go ahead and bill, but if it's not a match, they give you the opportunity to go find out who the real father is. But yeah, just something to think about. I think that on the grand scheme of things, it saves everyone a lot of heartache. It really does. So, yeah, something for you guys to think about. You know, a lot of folks be like, I'm going to Ohio, shit, have my child. Maybe they'll spread it out, make it across the country. That'd be beautiful. And it'll keep life simple, like I say. It really would. But definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. Like, share, subscribe, all of the above. Always look forward to hearing from you guys, and we'll continue to keep this party going.